Welcome, Tim Rickson from British Boxing News, discussing the Lawrence Okolie versus David Light WBO Cruiserweight World title fight that's coming up on March the 25th. So for Hackney's Lawrence Okolie, who's defending his WBO belt, he's returning back to the Manchester Arena on March 25th, 2023. And it's the exact same date and the exact same setting for his professional debut 6 years prior. So it's March 25th, 2017, that Lawrence Okolie, fresh from the 2016 Olympics and his success there, was at the Manchester Arena against Geoffrey Cave, a journeyman, an overmatched journeyman in his professional debut. 25 years old he was at the time, Lawrence Okolie, and he blasted Cave away in something like 20 seconds. You know, he shouldn't have been in there. Maybe for Geoffrey Cave, he was sort of ticking a box in the fact that he could go home and say that he's fought an Olympian. But he shouldn't have been in there. He was you know, dispatched within seconds. I think there was two chopping right hands on the ropes that completely knocked him out cold. So it's quite dangerous. But that was the debut for Okoli, and he really announced himself in the professional scene with that devastating knockout. Yeah, we'd like to say within 20 seconds time. Now 6 years on, yeah, the hard-hitting cruiserweight from Hackney is coming back to the same venue on the exact same date, March 25th. But this time he's got a world title on his shoulder, and he's sort of collected almost all of the accolades on the way up, which obviously being given a head start. He started with the British rather than Southern Area English. Commonwealth, European, they followed, and then World. And yeah, you know, he's coming into this fight as the reigning world champion with all that confidence, and he's probably going back to his venue feeling quite proud after what he's achieved within that time that he was there last as a professional debutant. He hasn't fought in 13 months. There's been some managerial promotional disputes with Eddie Hearn that have been quite public. So yeah, he hasn't fought for a while. I think someone of Okolie's calibre won't have any ring rust because of that. And yeah, he's fighting New Zealand's David the Great White Light, who's the WBO #1 contender, having won the WBO Global in his last fight, which was also a WBO eliminator against Brandon Glanton, the American. He beat him away from home in Glanton's backyard in Florida. I think it was a split decision win, which I think Glanton was a little perplexed by, called it a robbery. I think most people watching that fight, there's not a lot of footage or highlights available to find online, but I think most people who watch that fight disagree with Brandon, and that David Light was the clear winner. There was a 10th round knockdown, which obviously resulted in the split decision, which otherwise would have probably gone all the way to David Light. But he held on against a big puncher in Glanton. But from what I could tell by the footage, David Light was busier, threw more. Glanton was a little bit quiet. Like I say, maybe that's just snapshots of what I've seen, but Light looked like the clear winner for me. But yeah, you know, there's going to be a call for a rematch by the sounds of it. From Auckland, David Light, he's unbeaten. He's earned his way to this mandatory position, so he deserves all the respect in the world for that. He's quick, he's fast. I don't think he's that heavy for a cruiserweight. He likes to fight at kind of mid-range. I don't think he's really got the wingspan to fight at range like Lawrence Okolie has. So he's a bit more of a mid-range puncher. You know, likes to fight up close, but he never ever smothers his work. He's always sort of stepping off, making sure he can get those jabs and punches and hooks and uppercuts, of which he varies his punches very well. So he's a very good sort of impressive all-round fighter. So he's a good person to watch. He's got a snappy jab. He's quite light on his feet. He doesn't really have much of a defence, but he'll sort of shift his feet quick in order to defend himself and to get out of range. And yeah, you know, he can adapt as well. So against Okoli, he's going to have to adapt. Against that fight with Glanton, you know, it was reported that he almost gave his jab up and didn't use his jab at all, because he knew that that would play into his opponent's favour. And the adjustments he made obviously won him the fight, you know, thousands of miles away from home. So he's obviously got a bit of intelligence and a bit of ring IQ to go with it. But yeah, I think he's the fact that he doesn't move his head or trunk much is going to sort of cause a problem against Okolie. He's going to be in the firing line, I'm sure of it. And Okolie is a very accurate puncher that can hit you from very far away, from a distance. So yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of difficulties in this fight for David Light. I think he's going to be up against it. I think the Londoner's height and reach is really going to work in his advantage, as you would expect it would. Yeah, so I think, yeah, everything's probably going against him in this fight. I think Okolie's 7 of his last opponents were stopped by or before round 7. So, you know, hardly anyone ever makes it through the midway stage of the fight against him. So the knockouts come early. His last opponent was Michel Zigzag, who was hurt badly in the first round, wobbling around all over the place. Knocked down in the 5th, but made it all the way to the final bell. But that just shows the calibre of opponent he is. He's a world title contender. He's formidable, and he's up there right at the top of the you know, highest echelons in the cruiserweight world boxing. And I think personally he's probably quite a bit better than David Light is. And only one opponent, I've seen a stat that only one opponent in 18 opponents that Okolie has had, Matty Askin, has ever got through the entire fight without being knocked down or knocked out. So, you know, only one person been able to survive. And that fight, they were 2 spoilers, both clinching pretty much for the full 12 rounds. The fight got a lot of a lot of criticism from the public, because it was such a messy, boring, very unpleasing fight to watch. And I think Okolie watched it back and sort of said something afterwards to the British public. You know, I admit that was not nice. I'm going to go back to the drawing board and work on that, which is quite refreshing for a boxer to sort of say, you know, I want to impress the fans. I don't just want to get in there and win and get out again. And, you know, it's all about the glory. He wants to be a fighter that wants to be a headlining act, and wants to be well supported and well liked. So that was quite refreshing. So he admits his flaws, and he admits to going back to the drawing board to work on them. And he's still a novice, you know, from the fact that he didn't start boxing until very late. I think 2012 he took it up after watching Anthony Joshua in the Olympics, and that spurred him on, inspired him to become a boxer himself. He has learned and he has progressed through his career. He and Shane McGuigan teamed up together. I think they got about 6 wins together, which culminated in, or which captured the WBO World title for him. So that was a successful pairing. But now I see he's working with Sugar Hill from the Kronk Gym. So obviously the late great Emmanuel Steward's nephew, Sugar Hill Steward, who obviously is well known for guiding Tyson Fury to the WBC World title and knocking out Deontay Wilder twice. So he's obviously, you know, what he doesn't know about boxing, he's unsurpassable. He's seen as one of the best coaches in the world, but he's also seen as one of the best offensive coaches in the world. You know, if you join Sugar Hill Steward, you're getting knockouts. That's what you get taught to do. You don't get taught to jab and move and sort of stay clever and intelligent and win on points. You get taught to go in there and just absolutely obliterate the opponent, which is what Tyson Fury did to Deontay Wilder in that first fight together, knocking him out in 7 rounds. Okoli, I imagine, is going to have a new offensive, attacking, you know, a whole new offensive added to his game. So I believe that we're going to see even more of a killer from someone who's known for being a puncher and known for knocking opponents out. I think we're going to see that, you know, doubled, tripled, quadrupled, hopefully, in this fight. So I think it's going to give a real attacking edge to Okoli's game, who has a real attacking edge anyway. So, you know, that can only be good. So, yeah, I think perhaps Okoli under Sugar Hill could be a different animal. And like I say, I think he progresses and improves with most fights anyway. So I'm really, really looking forward to seeing him, even though I don't think it's going to be much of a contest, this fight. What I like is that David Light is kind of quite unknown. People don't know a lot about him. He's got this impressive record on paper, which makes people think that maybe, well, maybe this could be intriguing. But I think in reality, it might not be. I think Light deserves all the respect in the world, as I said earlier, for being here, for being WBO #1 contender. Got the WBO Global belt, which is probably going to be his world title, because I don't think he will win one in his career. I don't think, not when I can see the cruiserweight world champions out there at the moment. Yeah, he obviously done well in his last outing, which is obviously going to be the biggest win of his career against Glanton. And yeah, I think I think there's a future for him in boxing, but right now I think it's going to stop his sort of his rise to the world title. I think he's going to stop with Okoli. He's 4 inches taller. I couldn't imagine what advantage he's got with his reach as well, because he's very he's got very freakishly on arms, Okoli. He's obviously been in there with better fighters. He's been at world title level for a few fights now. He's fought Glowacki, Cieslak. He's fought fighters that I think are probably a lot better than David Light is. I think I saw his last 5 opponents had a combined record of 106 wins and 3 losses. So that's the sort of opponents and contests that Okoli's been in with lately. And I think, even though he's had 13 months out of the ring, I think David Light is going to be, I don't want to be disrespectful and say easy work for him, but I don't think he's going to present him with a really tough challenge like some of his other opponents, like Glowacki has. Okoli, he's known for starting fast. He gets a lot of knockdowns early. I think 12 of his 14 knockouts have come before the halfway mark in his fights, so he likes to get the job done before it gets to round 6 of 12 or round 5 of 10. He likes to get in and get out early. I think with the added boost of Sugar Hill in his corner, I think that's going to be even more present in this fight. If I have to put a number on it, I would say Okoli to knock out David Light within 6 rounds. I think that's quite a safe-ish bet. But if you really want to try and get those odds up, then I would sort of maybe even say Okoli between rounds 1 to 3. I hope David Light gives a better account than what I've given him here. I hope it's an even contest and something for fight fans to sort of enjoy and see a bit of longevity too. But yeah, I think I'm going to say Okoli to win within 6 rounds. Thanks for listening. Take care.